you had to kind of like, you're one of the first successful creators to come out of India. Those are not things that were available to you. So it was like you guys walked so I can come flouncing on my fucking in shot, you know? So I like, but, and then if you're a purist,
Can I talk about the supermodel thing?
like I'm my biggest fan.
You're not bad at it. You're being more efficient than I am.
I'm unable to like be vulnerable. I feel like my what I say and all of that is so jarring to a general audience that if the packaging is good, then it's more palatable.
I feel
Yeah.
like I just finally met someone that overanalyzes things as much as I do. Have you managed to not get cancelled, dude?
My address has been doxxed. I've been followed on the street. I've gotten death threats, rape threats. I have a very strong sense of like who will give me honest opinions and who will not, and everything else is background noise. Being self-aware, I didn't realize was a trait that a lot of people I'm realizing don't have. I feel like having a yes man, then I would just keep like a bobblehead that I can move around.
That's goals to me because I am
Really?
my worst and biggest
Stop.
critic.
So with Instagram, at least I've had such like erratic growths and then pauses.
So I think we're all, to be a creator, to be a little bit cuckoo, I feel.
A little bit cuckoo, a little bit self-obsessed.
Yeah,
You're a
absolutely right.
perfectionist. People were like really going hard, like what the fuck is up with her hair?
Does shit like that affect your mental health?
And I'm very like afraid of rejection. I know people working at Humans of Bombay. I know what questions are planted.
A lot of undercutting also happens, no, in our space based on
Yeah.
this. How, like, because I feel like that's a very big part of, unfortunately, not speaking numbers openly.
Yeah, they take a 15% cut from all my work.
I will physically be paying those online with the
Okay.
challans myself.
But what I say actually was very controversial. So tell me to shut up.
Please, I am the worst example of work-life balance.
In this field, if you don't love what you do, then really become a doctor. I feel like this entire industry is based on burnout, right? Because you're like, who can burn out the least is the one that'll win. I like bitching. It has its place in my society.
Be picky with where you offer your
Right.
presence. That energy needs to like be required there, and especially because you're doing so many things.
Now, influencers have built a market to sell it to. And I hope that I'm able to build like a great product in that niche.
You are both my worst nightmare and my goals. What does an average month of numbers look like? Hi, and welcome to this episode. I'm super excited to bring on someone whose content to me is one of the most de-stressing things to watch. Sakshi is a content creator that does fab comedy content and still has so much of soul in the way she delivers it. I love listening to her podcast myself, and I'm thrilled to be having this conversation with her today that I think is about to be a mix of casual conversations, easy flowing conversations, and of course, business conversations related to the creator industry. Let's get started. Hi, Sakshi. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
You're on the other side.
Yeah, I
For a
know.
change.
I know. Is it very irritating for you also when a guest comes and then they're just like, yeah.
Like the monosyllables.
Yeah.
And yeah. Then it's tougher to have that conversation. What do you do in those situations?
Nena and I just start talking to each other because I have a partner now.
Listen, that's a big advantage.
Yeah.
Nah? How does that work? Like, who does what?
So Nena does like when we have a guest episode, then Nena does like most of the asking questions and I stick to like the one-line zingers and I have like my relationship with the audience while Nena engages the guest because she's just so good at asking questions and I am so bad at being a good host.
Listen, don't cut yourself. I watch Moss enough. I told Nena this, I think maybe the second or third time I met her only, when I was pregnant and on bed rest in my last couple of months. That's all I watched. I watched YouTube and that's when I properly dived into Moment of Silence.
Really?
And I was like, listen, this is fun. I want more to watch more of this. And I think I went way back and watched like older episodes too. You guys have been
Really?
doing this for what?
2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah. Does your baby kick every time he hears our voices?
Oh, God. Shooting. No. Maybe it'll happen on his own outside.
Yeah.
He'll
Let
kick.
me know when you sign him up for football classes. I'll
Oh
come and
God,
talk in
don't
the
make-
background.
Don't make me think about this. I'm just wrapping my head around the fact that I have a child.
So fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also wrapping my head around the fact that you have a child. When I met Anam on the street randomly, she was like shopping for a wedding, and I was like, I knew she had a child. I knew she was married, and I was like, of course she's getting married right now. She was like, I have a child.
You were going to the spa, if I remember
was
correctly.
going to the spa.
And she said, "Do you want to come?" And I said, "I have to get back home to my baby." And in that moment, I was like, I miss doing this impromptu. Like last year, I would have been like, "Yeah, I'm coming."
Really?
Yeah, I'm so like, I love spas. You tell me when to go to the salon, I'll always say yes.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I have to get back home to the baby.
But to be fair, I'm doing every week I do a different spa in Bandra to figure out the best one. And nana nice.
Is this for a video?
No, it's for me. I love massages.
Dude, I'm a loyalist. I
Yeah?
will go to the same woman has been cutting my hair since I was in the 10th grade. My cousin is a hairstylist who made me go to someone else in June. And I
Uh-huh.
feel like I was cheating on Anu.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not loyal to anyone. If I go any day and someone yaps too much while getting a haircut, while
Oh.
doing anything, I'm never going back.
That I understand because like sometimes you just want to be like in the zone and
Yeah.
relax. But when it comes to like hair washes and like
Huh. Like the
Yeah.
massage.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a full hair spa just because I want a massage.
Fair.
Like I just really I'm so touch stuffed is what I'm realizing.
No, I feel like you need to enjoy and like really make the most of it because I did a lot of that and now I'm like, listen, that phase of my life is a little bit behind. I'm enjoying this phase now.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I hear of someone having impromptu travels like I used to, I'm like, oh wait, that's not going to be a part of my life for a little while.
Yeah. Till your child also wants to be a wanderer.
I guess so.
Let's
But tell me on content because like that's
Yeah.
what I really want to dive into. This vibe of yours, right? Like whether it's as you like to call it the yap
yeah.
or whether it's like just how you are so like candidly just super unfiltered. I feel like you have one of those very like chill Gen Z vibes going for you.
Yeah, and that's why I've been pretending to be Gen Z I'm 28.
No, but you feel Gen Z.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I feel like I'm not supposed to say my age because everyone thinks I'm Gen Z. The briefs that come are Gen Z. But yeah, like, I'm on the cusp. I feel like with me, it was like I wanted to do this. Like, I love yapping for a living. I'm so grateful that this is a job. Otherwise, I would be Nalla, Berozgar, sitting in my parents' house. And I do have that, I feel like people don't get it till they like watch me for a while, and then I become like sort of a character. You know, like, oh, Sakshi would do X, Sakshi would do Y. And that's genuinely like how I am in real life also. Like, everyone who knows me knows what Sakshi would like, what Sakshi wouldn't like. So I feel like because I'm such a caricature, it translates well on camera.
You like it.
I love it, but it does. So my therapist is like, you need to separate the character from the person sometimes, because sometimes even when I'm having like deep conversations in a relationship and my family is going through something hectic, I'm unable to like be vulnerable because I have this thing where I'm like, everything I do, I'm being watched since like a very early age. I don't know why I have this. So I built my life like that. I know it's a deeper answer than you were expecting, but like
No, that's fine.
I've built my life around that. So even when I'm sitting alone at home, like the first thing I do in the morning when I wake up is I wear my lenses. And then that's the last thing I do before I go to sleep. But I get my hair done even when I don't have shoots. Like if you come to my, you know how like Amitabh Bachchan talks about how the Bachchans are always well dressed at home.
Does he? Okay.
Maybe this is the corner of the internet only I've been to. But yeah, that's how I live my life. So I'm trying to be more like vulnerable.
I feel like I need to step onto your side a little bit more clearly because I'm one of those people who is like, I'm not shooting, I'm not filming, I'm fine. I can have my hair in the worst bun ever and I don't care. But that's so good for you in a sense because it almost feels like you're always ready. Like you're always on.
I'm always ready, but I feel like sometimes, when I really don't want to do it also, like I can't function unless I do it. Like I'm going on a trip next week and I'm already checking out like salons in case I need to get a blowout or something, even though it's like I'm not vlogging this trip, I'm not doing any of those things. So it's like it causes so much stress in my life, but I have to like play it cool because I'm like Big Boss is watching. Like, you
Are
know,
you so preppy, like in your work also? Like, are you a very like always prepped, always have to have everything down to the T, I's are dotted, T's are crossed?
actually, no. Like, I feel like my what I say and all of that is so jarring to a general audience that if the packaging is good, then it's more palatable. Like, you know, because I want to yap, I want to say things that are kind of unlikable, I want to say unpopular opinions. And I know the feedback is going to be like, what is this? Like, she can't even make her hair. How is she saying this? Like, or something like that, you know? So I'm like, I can't give them another reason to like punch me down because I know I'm strong headed. I know I'm opinionated. And I know that rubs people the wrong way. So, how much I can control in terms of packaging, I try to control. And then everything else is like kind of raw. I don't script my reels also. I just open my phone and I yap.
But the fact that you are even thinking that, okay, I don't want to give them something to say about on surface.
Yeah.
So that they will, like you said, make everything else more palatable is also a form of preparedness.
That's what I'm saying. But like the only thing I don't prepare is the actual content because that I'm so sure about like what I'm like. If you give me a sentence and you tell me to improv it today and you tell me to improv it 3 years from now, I will say the exact same thing. So I'm so sure about what I'm going to say. The only thing I'm not sure about is the packaging. So that's what I put all my time in. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I love it. I feel
Yeah.
like I just finally met someone that over analyzes things as much as I do to be
Okay.
able to know this
Yeah.
in such great detail.
Yeah.
You have to have a really good sense of like, okay, I know myself like so
Yeah.
thoroughly. And that's some really like good stuff to have.
Yeah.
Does that also mean that your work as a podcaster, not just like content wise on the
Uh-huh.
creator front, becomes almost simpler, no? Like, because you are so sure of you and you know what you want to say.
Yeah, no matter what the topic is, like as soon as I know the topic, I know what's gonna come out of my mouth and I'm comfortable with like also I don't know about you, but I have a very strong sense of like who will give me honest opinions and who will not, and everything else is background noise. So if I have an opinion that's unpopular to 99 people, but the people I trust, it's like, okay, we understand where you're coming from. I'm willing to take the hate from 99 people. So I'm okay with like that assuredness I have in what I have to say. So I'm never worried. I'm even if I know like fuck, this is gonna get me a lot of hate and all of that, I'm gonna have to go through XYZ. I'm like, yeah, but this is what I genuinely believe.
Yeah.
So I kind of go in with that. But yeah, being self-aware, I didn't realize was a trait that a lot of people I'm realizing don't have that.
They don't have. And I feel like, especially in a space like ours, because I feel like becoming an influencer in this day and age is kind of like how everybody wanted to be actors back in
Yeah.
the day or models back in the day, one or the other.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially once you're successful in either of these public figure kind of spaces, you almost are surrounded by people who will just say yes.
To you, yeah.
to whatever. And I feel like then you lose your sense of like just to be able to gauge whether something's actually working
Yeah.
for you internally.
You
or not.
can't have like your managers, your like people that you are professionally working with. I feel like having a yes man, then I would just keep like a bobblehead that I can move around. Like, give me something honest. Like, you know, it's happened so many times with brand deals when I'm like pushing back, and then my manager is like, babe, but this was our fault. So shut the fuck up and treat it like a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the team breakdown look like? Tell me on like Sakshi, the creator, as
Yeah.
well as for the podcast.
Okay. So for Sakshi, the creator, I'm signed with an agency. They take a 15% cut from all my work. And I have assistance in terms of I have a business manager who will sign all my deals for me and everything and kind of execute them. She has someone working under her who will assist me on shoots and everything and kind of do the like before I go to set, like my ETA, what I need on set and everything. And my manager and her assistant are also the people that kind of hire stylists, makeup artists, everything for me when I have to go on set. When I have brand deals to shoot, a photographer or a videographer will come from my agency and shoot and edit that for me. They will bring the equipment and I have to, because we don't buy equipment.
Yeah.
So if they rent any equipment, obviously that goes out of my this thing. It's a nominal cost. But my organic content I shoot just by myself. So I don't have any, like, I just have my sticky phone case, my phone, and me. And we have another business side for outreach to brands, or like when pitches come in, because the creator agency is so large, then to like give our names and also that's a separate unit. So that's Sakshi Shivdasani as a business. And then it goes to Moment of Silence, which is Naina and me are the owners of the business. We have a producer whose name is Amrita, and she is honestly an angel. She does all the, she watches the podcast. She says like the first content cut of what needs to be removed comes from her. Then she'd pick like cold open and all of that. She'd give us the timestamps. We have to sign off on it, but she's touchwood amazing. We have this girl, Natasha, again, amazing. She's the director. She's like the creative director. So our set design, our social media and everything is done by Natasha. And she has her own team as well, but it's ever changing. So sorry, guys. And then we have Rian, who is our reels guy. And he's really fun with his reels and all of that. And I'm sure I'm missing someone, and I'm going to get
your editor.
Our editor is actually, we have a production house that we work with. So that is like, we work with a production house called Handmade Productions, and they're really good. Again, they'll sort you out on set and everything, and then they edit and shoot all of it.
Your branding for Moss is fab. I feel like I don't know if I've said this to you when I met you last, but like it's genuinely really nice. So much. It like kind of stays with you because you can like almost recognize it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can tell, oh, this is so like your branding.
So Morse coded.
Yeah. Even the stories that you post with the logo on it every once in a while, I'm like, oh, this is like something related to the pod. It's so instantly just, kind of recognizable. Or does it sometimes get overwhelming though? Because like we're dealing with so many people, so many teams.
Yeah.
Can it sometimes be, and sorry, but tell me how long you've been a creator for?
I've been a creator since 2020.
So like 5 years. Yeah. And like, I feel like your growth in 5 years has been, knock on wood, has been fab.
Yeah.
So like there's something about, maybe you're not getting overwhelmed on clearly, but like what's working according to you within this period?
Honestly, the fact that everyone I'm working with is so good at their job that it kind of enables me to only tap into the creative. My team, touchwood, I'm able to trust them with anything and everything. And I think also the fact that they're not yes men. I do know that like a lot of the times I'm just like exhausted. I'm like a zombie. Even this week I've kind of been a zombie. But there is someone like calling me and going like, this is a job. You must do it. You have to show up. And at the end of the day, it's positively impacting me. So like that, I feel like that reminder is so important. And I'm also very good at making time for myself. Like I'm very diligent. Like if I know I'm shooting 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I'm up at 5:30 to I need time to myself. So I'm very diligent about that. I'm very open to canceling plans to catch up on sleep and all of that. So I think that's something I'm good at. And then if I'm burnt out of reels, then I go to YouTube. If I'm burnt out of YouTube, then I go to the podcast. So like I always have something tickling my brain. So I think that's really helpful.
So do you plan your content calendar accordingly, or are you someone who's a little bit more spontaneous?
I'm fully spontaneous. Like I don't know what I'm going to make today, but I have to make something.
So why do you have to make something?
Because otherwise I feel like it's so in content, it's like if you haven't posted anything, you have not worked that day. You could have been out of 10 interviews or 10 podcasts or whatever. But if you've not posted anything, you haven't made anything. You haven't worked that day. So I feel like I'm like I have to post something. But even if it's like a YouTube short, which is not something I post. But as long as that's put out there in the universe, I'm like, chalo, you can live for one more day.
Aaj maine kuch kaam kiya hai. I feel like this also all the time where I'm like, if I have not done anything productive, if I have not either shot something or edited something, and mind you, I feel like that even if it's like, the first of the month I sit down with accounts, books, first and second of every month is dedicated to Hisab.
Okay.
And like I'm fully I'll look into GST, I'll look into TDS. I will physically be paying those online with the
Okay.
challans myself.
Love
So,
it.
but I won't feel productive while doing it. I'm like, no,
Huh.
I have to either be editing a little piece of content or have shot a tutorial or, like just,
Something.
yeah, it needs
Yeah.
to feel like substantial in some way. And my therapist tells me that I must learn that even the smallest things are still work and I'm doing
Mm.
enough, even though I'm constantly telling myself that I'm clearly not doing enough, is what the constant feeling is. So how are
Yeah.
you also like on that front? Like you're good with work-life balance and me
Yeah.
time, but like, are you good with like when you set a goal for yourself? Are you someone who is actively keeping short-term, long-term goals?
No, so with Instagram at least I've had such like erratic growths and then pauses that I feel like every time I keep a goal I get stressed out. My only goal is that whatever content I put out, I must enjoy it. Like I'm my biggest fan. So if I'm not okay with this being cast on a TV screen and people going like, isn't that you? And I'd be like, yeah, of course it's me. If that's not the reaction this piece of content puts out, then I'm a loser.
Sakshi, this is so healthy.
Really?
For you to say that you are your biggest fan is one of the healthiest things. Like that's goals to me because I am
Really?
my worst and biggest
Stop.
critic. I'm telling you, I feel like I'm not doing enough. So what you just said is like,
Yeah.
I want to write that down and like read it to myself.
You cut that piece of footage and it just
Put it on my TV. I'll cast it on my
Amazing.
TV. But like, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm saying that from the point of view of just being an adult in this day and age, not even creator. Creator though add-on layer. Because I think we're all, to be a creator, you have to be a little bit cuckoo, I feel.
a little bit cuckoo, a little bit self-obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit required.
Huh.
But to say that you're your biggest fan is such a healthy state of mind because maybe for me personally, because I know I'm not my biggest fan or like
Interesting.
so because I'm always like saying, looking at something and like I could have done this better. I could have. I'm always like kind of going after my
Yeah.
own.
You're
ass
a
little bit.
perfectionist.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. Maybe.
Not a problem this time.
But you, by that logic, do you prefer YouTube to Instagram? Because I feel like Instagram is so aesthetic everything versus YouTube is so intuitive, at least for me.
Dude, so 1 year into content, not even 1 year, 6 months into content, I had this hair accident. Lost all my hair because it got bleached off. And I had the worst hair for one entire year. Like it was literally like growing up. And I have like grays right here. So I couldn't color it. So I was looking god awful. But I was posting on Instagram every day. So, and people were like really going hard, like, what the fuck is up with her hair? What is this? What is that? So I was like, clearly now I'm not hot. So I need to be funny.
Are you blind?
So, no. You see those pictures, you will see. Now I'm not saying I'm not. I'm saying you see that
Thank
my
you.
hair was so bad. And people were going hard. And every time I opened my comments, it was like, what the fuck is up with her hair? What is up with her hair? So I was like, now I have to gain a following with my yapping. Fuck the aesthetics, fuck everything. And if I look good later, then I look good later. Right now, you operate as someone who has to win people over based on personality on an aesthetics based app. So I did that and I got a lot of haters, but I got a lot of people that were willing to follow my journey. So now on Instagram, if someone's like, oh, aesthetics, this, that, I've already been through touchwood worst case scenario. So now I'm like, if my hair is like this is how it's going to be for the vlog, for the Instagram video. If I'm not put makeup, I'm not putting makeup on this. So now I'm immune to the aesthetics.
So that's another thing I guess you and I have in common. I
Yeah.
also had my hair bleached and lost 2/3 of my hair in 2020 Jan.
I'm so sorry.
It is the worst phase of my
Yeah.
life. And I was supposed to leave for Paris Fashion Week literally 4-5 weeks later. The pandemic happened, so I didn't go. That's a separate. I don't. No. We will not say anything. Sakshi. That's how I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. How have you managed?
I've not said anything.
Have you managed to not get cancelled, dude?
I've gotten cancelled.
That's
like
in my
10
notes.
times.
I'm not even joking. That is in my notes. I'm like, she says all the hot takes and Touch wood. I
Touch
hope
wood.
you never get cancelled, of course.
But babe, I've gotten cancelled 25
You
times.
have not, Sakshi.
On Bombay Times front page, it was like influencer Sakshi Shivdasani says this, then Hindustan
What
Times.
did you say?
I said something about. I can't
I'll Google
say.
it. No,
Yeah.
don't say it.
No, I've gotten cancelled on Twitter 5 times. I've gotten cancelled on Instagram 5 times. But the thing is, I'm not getting cancelled by people I have similar beliefs with.
Fair.
You know, so, but obviously, the people my beliefs don't align with seem to have a lot of power in our country. So it is very like it's gotten touchwood. I haven't gotten into any real trouble, so to speak. But my address has been doxed. I've been followed on the street. I've gotten death threats, rape threats, all of that. But the thing is, extremists take it to a point where rational people who may not agree with my beliefs will still shun the people that are going hard. So I luckily am in those rooms with the rational people who will tell me to my face, like, I don't agree with what you do, but I will defend your right to say it. Like, and I don't have to go into a lot of spaces, and the people that are extreme touchwood don't have that access to me, so I've lucked out. But I'm very, very, like, I've had so much anxiety, I've had so many sleepless nights. I moved out of my last apartment because my address got doxed so heavily. So all of these things happen, but yeah, we're all on a very thin line. Tomorrow, even the most random thing you say can be picked up.
Yeah.
So touch wood, like, it's not. Like,
No, especially in the comedy scene, right? With how things are, I feel like you have to be even more careful. And I feel as women, we anyway need to be 10x more careful than men in life, as it is.
That's why when all this starts, I switch from comedy to fashion.
I have to say, you're very good at the agility of this. Because, like, can I talk about the supermodel thing?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? Because, like, I felt like the fact that you went back and posted that story was so cool.
Because
I feel like not a lot of people will be able to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't have the platform to. And the fact that you did in itself is great. It will help anybody who is an aspiring model to know what she should say yes and no to. And then the fact that you went back and posted that story with the receipts, I feel like I was doing something when I saw that story, and I was like, go get him. Like,
also, I know people working at Humans of Bombay. I know what questions are planted. I knew it was going to come out.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
So you weren't surprised?
No, because I know people working in the industry, and I know, like, I know what's happening because I have been so transparent with people that people don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Like, they'll tell me, they'll be like, this person had come on, they asked for these questions, and we have asked these. So now their answer was this. And I was so shocked at the answer. And I was like, I yap all the time. So I've spoken about this. So I went and typed it in my WhatsApp, and I had all of it. And like, as a content creator, you will not call someone out unless you have proof.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to like
lose your reputation over nothing.
Like, why will I lie on camera when I know I have, like, when it's my word against theirs? So obviously, if I'm saying something, if I'm starting something, I should have something to back it up. Otherwise, no one's going to believe me. As women, anyway, we don't get believed. So I always, as soon as anything happens, I record it on my phone. And I have my phone on.
No, but you had the text, which was great. And I feel like that again in the creator space, and also, like you said, you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Relationships go a really long way.
It goes, you're right.
I like to new creators, one of the things I always say to new creators, I'm like, build your network, build your relationships one way or another. Even if tomorrow you're not a creator, it'll be very useful to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also feel like you guys are much better at it than, like, I'm really, honestly, anyone I meet, I try to network with them, but I'm not very good at keeping in touch. I'm not very good at like showing up for other creators and all of that, which is something I think I need to work on because I know the benefits of it and I genuinely have a lot of positive feelings towards a lot of creators. I'm just so like overwhelmed with like people because I'm a content creator from COVID. When no events were there, nothing was there. So I got used to that. But you guys, like you, Sherry, Juhi, like I was telling you off camera, are so good at all of this that I'm so, it's so aspirational for me to like keep up with the stuff that you guys keep up with, because it's like there's a sense of girlhood, I think. And content creation is such a space where it is women dominated. So it's so beautiful to see like all these women with businesses showing up very hot, very successful. Like it's such a girlhood space. And I'm so sad that I'm not able to keep up with it. But I know that it's just a skill I need to work on.
I'm sure you will get it, because honestly speaking, once you kind of get into the rhythm of events,
Yeah.
in my opinion, they can actually be really, really
Yeah.
fun. And having said that, I would never tell anyone to like go for like all events. I
Yeah.
would never say that. Be picky with where you offer your presence. That energy needs to like be required there, and especially because you're doing so many things.
Hmm.
But like events can be a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
you do feel nice also, because I mean, tell me if you agree or disagree. I feel like being a creator is a little bit of a lonely journey, because it doesn't matter how big your team is. At the end of the day, whether it's the love or the hate, it's coming. The pressure is on you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I feel like it kind of makes me feel almost less lonely for a little bit.
Yeah. So a lot of my close friends are creators and we hang out a lot, but we never switch on the camera. Like, so I feel like that kind of the relatability of that and all of that kind of gets satisfied for me. But I don't, and I'm very down to meet anyone for coffee or like to their house or anything. It's just, I feel events for me, there's been times actually when I just started stepping out, I didn't realize how popular I had gotten. So I was just like yapping. And then like people took it out of context and I had to kind of like, go in and be like, I never said that. But then again, it was my word against this person's. And I ended up offending some people and it became this whole thing. And I was like, what is going on? So then and it was like, just like some drama at a couple of events, which like kind of, soured the taste for me. But now I feel like I just need to shut up and go back.
No, you will
and
get
figure
that.
it
Don't
out.
worry when you're ready
Yeah.
for it. Does shit like that affect your mental health? Like, does it get you personally?
Just like I don't want anyone to feel bad for something I've not said. If I've said something and they felt bad, then obviously I meant what I said. But if I've really not said it, then I'm like, hey, like not over a misunderstanding. I'm very okay to like ruffle a few feathers with something I may genuinely believe. But if I've not said it, then I'm like, I genuinely like this person. And like quite honestly, I don't bitch about people at an event about where the person is there. I would be a fool to bitch about them. I like bitching. It has its place in my society. But like, so it has affected me. Like, I get anxious. I'm like, fuck now, this person hates me, but I really like them.
But are you the kind of person to reach out and be like, hey, I didn't say it?
When I meet them again, because I feel like if I don't want to sound defensive, right? Like, because if a rumor has been spread, then people tend to believe it regardless. So if I like make it feel like, oh my God, I have to clear the air, I feel like I would believe that the samne wala is just faffing. So then I get a little conscious and I'm very like afraid of rejection, So, and this field has so much rejection.
Yeah.
So I'm already getting payload work-wise.
Listen, rejection, you don't say I loved you in this recent ad. The one that remind me of the brand. Wow, I'm forgetting.
Flipkart.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, the brand I don't remember, but it was a very cool ad.
Thank you.
And I was like, hey, she's in it. So you have literally gone from comedy content to podcast, doing ads, is acting. Are you want to go? Do you want to go in that direction?
No, I don't want to act. I don't think I would be able to do justice to a character that's not me. Like I love saying my own stuff. I love that I can put on the camera and say whatever I want and then edit it myself. I'm so like if you tell me to play any character, even in my vlogs, I can't play a character. So I think it would be like an absolute waste. But I have done like a small mini series on like Dice Media. And again, like I was literally irrelevant to the plot. But I was looking cute. And like that was just a musty thing, but I would never seriously.
Ma'am, this is what I mean. Your self-awareness is level 10 on 10.
Thank
like,
you.
I don't even know which piece this is, so I can't agree or disagree on that. I will go Google it after filming
You
this.
will agree.
But your self-awareness, just as a sense of self, you should pat yourself on the back more often.
Thank you.
Be like, I got this.
She's so nice.
No, I'm being serious. See, being a creator, especially 2025,
Yeah.
is like, to me, like I said, you have to first of all be a little bit cuckoo. But I think you have to be able to be a bunch of things. In 7th standard, my class teacher said to my mother that your daughter is a jack of many trades. And I know that was no, it wasn't even a backhanded compliment. It was,
a
just
diss.
not, yeah. It was just a diss, really. That basically she's a master of none. And I remember in 7, you can imagine how clearly I remember this. How old was I in 7th grade?
Like
12.
Yeah.
I just turned 34.
Oh.
So like this is a long time
Khatka.
ago. Zor ka khatka. But I'm like, I'm okay with being now today. Like I realize that it's good that I'm a jack of all
Yeah.
trades. Because like as creators, you have to do so many things.
Yeah.
So like you're literally producing a podcast and doing comedy content and then showing up in ads and kind of really doing something for yourself. So I feel like I suck at patting my own back. So I never lose an
Really?
opportunity to remind someone else that they need to pat their
Damn,
own
but
back.
Listen, how can you suck at patting your own back? This is gonna be like you have like a business. You're a mom. You have a podcast. You're producing it. You do beauty content. You're actually one of the. It's like when I'm sitting down to eat, I'm like, who's gonna have new content for me to watch? And I know you have shown up that week because you're so consistent also, and you've been doing this for what, 10 years? 14 years. So to be consistent for 14 years, like I feel like I've been a part of your like wooing phase and your shadi now. Like when you're a grandmom, I will be watching your vlogs.
Thank you. I just think that I to me, like, it's a little unhealthy, but like my first definition of myself has always been I'm Anam the creator. So it's a huge part of how I see myself.
Yeah.
Which is only now started to shift a little bit where I'm like, wow, I'm Anam the mom and the creator.
Yeah.
But that's also because it's such a huge life change.
I love that.
It's almost helping me in so many ways because I've never, Sakshi, 14 years, I don't think I've ever not worked 7 days a week.
I love that.
And the fact that I stop working at 7 p.m. every day just so that I can or 6 p.m. if there's sunshine, I will take my child down to the park or, is because of now this phase. So like I am the worst example of work-life balance. And I don't mean to say this to glamorize it in the least. I'm saying don't be like me.
I'm also saying don't be like it. She's very successful, so I understand what the urge.
But there's a price to pay.
100%. But I love the fact that being a mom and being a creator has kind of equalized in your life because I know it's so difficult to manage mom life and work life. But you are looking amazing while doing it in your flower heels.
Thank you. I feel very supported. I'm very lucky.
Yeah,
I must acknowledge I'm very lucky. I have a lot of support, whether it's family and husband's family. And I'm not giving any credit to the husband because that's literally his job. Like we need to not.
You're so right.
So, but like I feel I have a lot of support. But switching gears a little bit now.
Please.
I want to talk about business, right? Like, what's more of a revenue stream? Are you comfortable talking numbers? May I ask you numbers?
Yeah. So the way that I do numbers is the amount of followers you have. That is how much you can charge for a reel. Is how I do numbers.
Stop it. Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Like sometimes, obviously, there's a range within that, but typically that is how, if your engagement is good, if you have an organic following, if you have not bought followers, typically a brand will go for the exact amount of number. Like if you have 20,000 followers, charge 20,000.
Sakshi, this is unheard of. And I mean this in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not like saying you're crazy. I think you're amazing to be able to get that. Because everyone so far that's come on board has talked about like CPVs and has talked about view count being a big factor.
View count is a big factor. But I also think this is again only for short form because
also comedy as a genre.
Comedy as a genre. Yeah, beauty is very different, and beauty then barter also comes in a lot, especially with luxury beauty and all of that. But what I say actually was very controversial, so tell me to shut up all the time. But whether you are working for a small brand or a big brand, as long as your paycheck is the same, it is as big an achievement. I see a lot of creators devaluing themselves so that they can get a brand on their portfolio. At the end of the day, your portfolio is not what other brands look at while they're working with you. They look at your content. So never devalue yourself just to add a big brand to your portfolio. Always, like, because your amount of work remains the same, the products you use remain the same. Yeah, traditional metrics are easier to sell to your parents because they may not have heard of X brand, but they would have heard of like a bigger brand. So when you're telling them I'm getting paid in the beginning, that is something you have to think about. But never like slash your rates just because a big brand comes in. In fact, a big brand will have the budgets, is what I think.
A lot of undercutting also happens, no, in our space based on
Yeah.
this. How, like, because I feel like that's a very big part of, unfortunately, not speaking numbers openly.
Yeah.
Like, my goal on every episode has been to get creators, ask creators numbers, because I
Yeah.
feel like women are perpetually getting told some male figure in their life is paying for their lifestyle.
100%.
That is
yeah.
the first big issue I have. Second, otherwise, the other spectrum is like right at the other end, where
Right.
people are like, oh, they're making obnoxious amounts of money. But I'm like, to make those obnoxious amounts of money, there's also obnoxious amounts of like things we do to maintain
You're
it.
selling yourself. You are the product. You are a walking billboard. That is the price you pay. But yeah, comedy and across the board, all comedy creators, the amount of followers is the real cost.
That's amazing because it's
Yeah.
nothing like that in beauty,
yeah.
which is why I'm so surprised.
No, 100%. But also, when you're a comedy creator, then you don't get a brief. You send a script, then they will say no. Then you send another script, then you will say no. So we are allowed, we send at least 4 to 5 concepts. They will pick one of those concepts. Then you send 4 to 5 scripts based on that. And then you give them rounds of changes. And then with comedy creators, even though it's comedy, Instagram has to be aesthetic. So comedy creators, based on like energy levels, based on background, based on outfit, have to do reshoots also. But that is what we are selling. We are the writers, we are the editors, we are all of that. I've gotten the most feedback I get is this is not Sakshi enough. And then there's been times where I've approved a script, but then when I picked up the camera, it was a different concept that came to mind. So I've shot both and sent it. So then, but with beauty, you get a brief.
Yeah.
Right? And then within that brief, obviously, you add your own flavor.
There's relatively lesser freedom from what you're
Yeah.
saying, for sure.
Yeah. And so there's relatively lesser feedback also because the
Yeah.
brief, like, in fact, I've heard of beauty creators that are able to post without showing at least back in the day, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, yeah, never.
No? Oh, damn.
Because it's similar in the sense that
Yeah.
we get the product and we get the overall
Right.
campaign idea. Oftentimes we'll get a brief or not get a brief
Yeah.
sometimes in very rare situations. You do a written script which goes for approval after the
Yeah.
concept scripting is done. Then there's no reshoot. If you're going to make me reshoot, you have to pay me extra for production.
Okay.
Because like
Right,
it's
yours
a
are
little bit more
produced.
effort, in the
Yeah.
production
100%.
as compared to maybe like other genres. And then it kind of comes down to, okay, feedback, supers, XYZ. But I didn't know that you would reshoot also if a client had a problem with.
Yeah, no, you don't have a choice because it's so subjective, right? Like comedy for me, it's not like my scripts are super punchy. It's the way I say it. So if the video is not entertaining, then obviously a little bit back and forth. My manager will say no, she will not shoot. Then she'll be like, shut up and shoot it. But like I was talking to Naina actually, and I was like, oh, I'm so upset. This video has taken me an hour to shoot. And then Naina was like, my minimum shoot time for a video is 2 hours, like minimum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Minimum.
Okay.
Especially if you're shooting with like a team and stuff, nah? Like,
Which you have to.
yeah, more or less. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, over a period of time, I've learned obviously to self-shoot if I want to.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel 1 or 2 hours to kahan nahi gaya kind of situation.
Acha.
But what do you do if you don't like the brief or if nothing that they approved from the concepts you sent gets approved?
Then you tell them, like, I don't think we are the best fit for this. I wish you had watched my content before picking this because this is what I do on my page. I have these IPs. I've also set my Instagram up in a way that I have IPs where I can plug products. I have IPs that are organic. So my team will send them all of these and they'll be like, within this framework, we are happy to work with you. And then if they've not checked any of those, then I'm like, we just wasted everyone's time. Like, so don't do that. So that is something that we're still working on, because I think brands will see that someone right now, we want a comedy creator, but we want this script. Like, I got one campaign, I remember, and I was like, why has this come to me? It was a South film, and they wanted me to say the dialogues in the language and all of that, and do the hook step and dance and all of that. I was like, guys, when do I do this? Like, why has this come to me? Then it never went anywhere. But yeah.
What does an average month of numbers look like? Are you comfortable sharing?
Average month of numbers is, so right now I've started doing ads and all, but I think it goes to like 8 to 10, like, is what an average month,
And
with the
including
podcast,
Moss.
with everything, is this thing. And I'm not very good at calculating expenses. So 8 to 10 is what comes, and then expenses is what expenses.
Billing top line is 8
Huh,
to 10.
yeah.
And would you say like it's a 50-50 between the pod and your individual?
No, right now my individual is, so pod, we really don't, we take a salary. We don't take the entire thing. We take a very small amount as salary. But my thing is to my thing.
Yeah.
So whatever goes from there, based on like a few ads I have to get like professionally shot, then hair and makeup, styling and all ka kharcha I don't count, because I'm bad at it. But yeah, 8 to 10 is what happens with the pod and me.
Who manages finances?
My father.
Ah,
Yeah, I'm touched wood very lucky. He is recently retired, so he's able to like kind of handle that. He has a CA, then Moment of Silence has its own CA, but we're all in a collaborative effort to make sure we are good about our finances.
I thought you were going to say collaborative WhatsApp group
No,
to make sure.
we do have a collaborative WhatsApp group also.
What do you see yourself doing like differently if you're going to look back at the last 5 years? Is there anything you feel like you could have done more or less of?
I feel like I had this phase where I used to do YouTube, and then I stopped for 2-3 years because I just wasn't feeling it, like the editing and all of that. And now I started again because I'm really enjoying it. I was also living with someone who didn't want to be on camera, so it became more difficult for me to vlog. But obviously, there was always a work around it. I was just like lazy about it. But I wish I had like kind of stuck with YouTube, because those 3 years really fucked my algo.
But you still do it
Now I do it.
reasonably.
Since the last year, I've been really good about it. But for 2 years in the middle, I was radio silent.
What feels like more of an effort, vertical content or YouTube vlogs?
None of them feel like effort to me.
That's
I genuinely enjoy it. Only brand deals, when the brand is not understanding my vision, then I feel like crying. And production backend for Moss feels like work. Everything else, I love shooting. I love editing vlogs. I love all of that. It's just coordination of things overwhelms me so much that even when we were fixing this podcast, like, this was the first thing. As soon as you said, listen, someone can talk to your team about it, I was like, yes, this is the number. And then I left the chat. Like, I can't coordinate.
Okay.
3 VFast deliveries a day and I'm done. I'm done for the day.
So what comes easily to you then? Like logistics admin is not your thing then.
No.
So what do you think comes most like organically to you?
I am just content. Only content. You tell me, Sakshi, you have to connect X and Y in the next 20 seconds, and both of these things have to be there. Like, when you're doing a CTA or something, and this is the conversation, and you say, listen, we're going to roll for 10 more seconds, and you have to connect this to this. I will find a way. Like any content-based thing, I will find a way. Scripts come easy to me. Content comes easy to me. Vlogging comes easy to me. Everything in front of the camera, amazing. Back of the camera, I edit my vlogs on my phone. I don't want to do it. You're like shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I can't even edit a reel on my phone. Like,
Amazing.
okay, so like, okay, I should rephrase. I can edit like maybe just about a reel on my phone.
Yeah.
But you know how people are able to like add sound effects on their phones and do all those CapCut things. I don't even have CapCut on my phone.
Okay.
I can't do any of that on my phone. Like the second if I film something on my phone, which I've only started doing last year, by the way,
Amazing.
I will airdrop it to the laptop immediately.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, just show me the laptop. I love my FCP. I want to just see it on the big screen and be able to edit it, add whatever I want to do. Just like, I don't want the struggle of.
I love it. We're from fully different schools because I don't own a tripod.
What?
I don't know how to work a tripod. I got a DJI something. And I was like, I have to charge this. So it just kept, like I used it till it ran out of charge. And now I'm like, I'm just going to use a sticky phone case from Amazon.
You are both my worst nightmare and my goals.
This is what Naina feels. This is literally Naina's life, where she'd be like, do you want to do this? And I'd be like, no. And she'd be like, please, you have to do this.
So
Can we-
you know, so who's like how do you manage? Like who's executing it?
amazing team that we have hired. Our creative director takes care of the LUT of the color grading of the whatever. And then they'll show me 2 frames that I will say look exactly the same because I can't tell the difference. And but I have to sign off on it. So I'll be like 2, 1. And then if I have said I don't like something, means the difference is massive. Like, you know, if I'm like, guys, that's looking really weird, means someone has fucked up in a massive way for me to notice this. So it's like I'm not trying to not learn. I'm genuinely like, when I have to do it, I do it. But it genuinely does not make any sense to me. Like, I don't know if I'm fucking colorblind or what. I'm just not able to tell.
No, you're literally Gen Z was gonna be my response. Because sometimes I think I'm over analyzing the shit out of everything. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when people vlog on phone, I'm almost jealous. Because if I vlog on phone, I hate it. I will
Really?
literally just not bother putting it in the final vlog. My vlog cam is like this 4K, small cam, but
Amazing.
4K, and I have to be able to use it in the DJI thing you're
Yeah, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. I've used it from like a couple of friends who have it, and I'm like, it's not feeling like I'm vlogging with a camera. So I need to feel like,
Fair.
so you get like, that's what I'm
No,
saying.
yeah, different schools.
You are my goals, and if I was Naina, my worst nightmare.
You are my goals. Like, I don't take any pride in what I do because it's like, how can I be so inept, like so bad at things?
Bro, you're not bad at it. You're being more efficient than I am.
Efficiency is fine, but like, imagine like I've been doing it for 5 years. I don't know how to fucking use like FCP, so forget only.
Think of it like this. Even without that, you have got so far.
So fair.
Because you are so efficient.
I feel like it's also like, you know, by the time I started, all the tools were available on like InShot or
Yeah.
whatever. You had to kind of like, you're one of the first successful creators to come out of India. Those are not things that were available to you. So it was like, you guys walked so I can come flouncing on my fucking InShot, you know? So I like, but and then if you're a purist because you figured it out.
Listen, when I started, ring lights used to cost some 15,000 rupees.
Exactly.
And now they're like 1,500 rupees
Yes.
on Amazon. So like,
Blinkit.
no, stop.
There are ring lights on Blinkit.
Well, there you go. I started like with blogs, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the first time, like, and I'm talking about like 2000 and when did Instagram happen? 2009, 9, 10.
10, yeah.
The first time ever that a brand asked me to only like post Instagram deliverables, I was like, but the blog? Like, to me in my head, Instagram was a supporting feature.
Yeah.
And blogs obviously faded over a period of time, which
Right.
is only after I got onto YouTube in 2016, 17 properly. So to me in my head, I'm like, I need something long form to support everything that's
Yeah.
short. So I'm like, on some level, I think I have been my worst enemy because I could have been more efficient in other ways and
Yeah.
probably done more literally and otherwise done more. But I need everything done in my own school ways.
But I genuinely, because this is not a career that your parents are going to force you in. You're doing this out of passion. So when you're doing it out of passion, you're not thinking about how efficient you can be. You love what you do. So you want to do it a certain way. And everyone who's a creative knows that, okay, touchwood, this is an industry in which brands have come. We could all have been creators and brands could have just said, like, look at these losers doing their passion. Like, no one cares about anyone's passion, right? Like, so it's okay if like something you do, you're passionate about, like the blog, wasn't your main source of income, but you loved what you did. And I think in this field, if you don't love what you do, then really become a doctor. Like, because
No, yeah, for sure. But I
Yeah.
know that a lot of people that come in now, like I feel there's a very big advantage, especially like I won't even say pandemic. I'll say like let's say post 2022.
yeah,
Because like now when people start, know what agency to go to. They can get representation quickly, easily. It's rather it's advantage and disadvantage. Like advantage because everything's like right there, set up for you to succeed, but it's also set up for everyone to succeed.
It is. Yeah. And like you and someone else could be doing the exact same thing, but your timelines in terms of success could be completely different because, again, no one knows. Even I'm sure the people at Instagram don't know the Instagram algorithm. So, like, you could take 2 pages and post the exact same content every day, and one person could get 500K and one person could be stuck at 2K. So, like, it kind of is like, yeah, you have all the tools, but then the main tool, which is the algorithm, is wonky. So you still don't know. I feel like luck is a big factor.
I agree. But
Yeah.
what does success look like in your head? Like, what is the ultimate goal for success?
Honestly, being in charge of your own schedule. I think for me, that is success. The fact that I can wake up, I can plan my day for myself, I can work when I want to. I think that is so underrated. I think being able to take a 2 hour walk every morning is success for me. Being able to be like, I don't want to deal with this right now. Success. What does it look like for you?
For me, a lot of what you said, the fact that we get to dictate the way our daily lives look is a big privilege. I never take
Yeah.
that for granted. I have a few more materialistic aspects
Of
attached to it in my head. Like I would like a much bigger house. I
Welcome
would
to
like swear. I would I would like to be able to actually take time off. I barring my pregnancy, actually I've never taken time off in 14 years.
Amazing.
I was working on my wedding day. Like my hair artist was doing my hair on my wedding day, and I was like uploading a blog post
You're
that.
insane.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm the worst example for
Yeah.
work-life balance. Like there was a time when I would glamorize it to myself, and I regret that little bit because somewhere I told myself that that's what normal was, and it wasn't. Like I have given up a lot of like my social life. I gave up, and then it's taken me only like post-pandemic is when I started to work on my almost like okay, I want to go back to that. I'll let work take a little bit, not backseat. Even saying it feels wrong.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm like, can I say?
I swear I'm not taking a back seat.
I just really don't take what I have for granted because like
Yeah.
I've really genuinely like worked really hard. So I think all of us have, I'm sure, but it's came out of nowhere for me. Maybe because of that, like I was just hobbying around. I thought I was
Yeah.
building a portfolio to be able to apply to be a beauty writer at a Vogue, Grazia.
Yeah.
Because like I was in college when I started blogging. I had no idea that this would become my career.
That's amazing.
So like I think because I have so much of just gratitude that I never want this to go.
yeah.
And also the fear of it a little bit, right? Because like I've been doing it for so long, I don't want to be irrelevant. I don't want to be like, I want to make sure I'm still there.
Like, when
So-
you open your phone and you refresh Instagram and there's no new DMs, does it like be like, fuck, am I irrelevant?
No, DMs are not it for me. For me, it is that little thing that if I don't have an idea or something to write down in my little brain dump Notion page, that fear sets in that, oh, wait, am I burning out? I've been through a couple of those burnout phases.
Bro. I feel like this entire industry is based on burnout, right? Because you're like, who can burn out the least is the one that'll win because you have to post something, otherwise you're irrelevant. And like, I guess that's just how it's designed. But again, like, I feel like every career has its
Perks and pits.
perks and pits. Yeah.
How have you dealt with your burnouts?
I honestly have started taking a lot of vacations. Like I'm here for 5 weeks and then I go for 1 week. And I would go for longer, but I have a puppy who does not like to travel and he doesn't like to stay with anyone else. But he's also such a good like source for like grounding, right? Like I could be burnt out, wake up in the morning, take him for a walk. That is a non-negotiable. So I think that really firstly gives me like some sort of exercise every day. I do work out a lot, not even for the aesthetics or anything, just because I need to clear my mind or I go insane. And I'm like, I just keep giving myself a new small challenge that I enjoy, and then everything else becomes BG noise for the interim.
I will say it for the 100th time, goals. Like the
You're being too nice.
clarity you have. No, the clarity you have is really admirable. Like it's like you're able to cut all the BS out, and that's fab.
I think I got really, again, like you said, really lucky in terms of when I started, there was no background noise. There was nothing stopping me. Like it was just like when you lock in and you make content. When you don't lock in, and I feel like the events and everything, like we were talking, I feel like I only owe anything to the people that are watching me. So if I'm like, and that is me, like I am watching me. So I need to be like true to myself, in that aspect. So then I have to cut out the background noise, otherwise it's not gonna happen. Is why I think I got lucky. Like that I like myself.
Clarity.
Clarity.
What does Sakshi want to be when she grows up?
Sakshi, the 30-year-old.
Lizzie, you'll be 30 now. You said you're 28.
I'm 28,
30 is
yeah.
too close.
I like to round up.
Okay, so where do
Yeah.
you see yourself in 10 years? Whatever you
In
want to
10
round that up
years.
to.
God, I honestly hope that I can I can continue doing what I'm doing. Like I hope my audience grows up with me. Like, that I'm sure you've experienced that.
It's
How
one
has
of the
that
most
been?
satisfying feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I used to think that, oh my God, should I be sharing my pregnancy journey? Nobody's going to be able to relate to me. Like, that proper creator fear.
Yeah.
And then I was flooded with DMs about, oh my God, we're pregnant at the same time. And now I have a mom life group with a bunch of subscribers because like
I love
everyone
that.
has kids. So I'm like, wow.
That's amazing.
No, but
Like-
tell me about you 10 years from now.
I feel like whatever I'm doing, I hope that I hope that my audience grows with me, one for sure. And then I've realized that like what you're building with your following is a platform where you can market stuff, right? Like the biggest cost in any business is the marketing cost. Now, influencers have built a market to sell it to. So any business that I make firstly has to make sense with my brand, and it has to make sense with the audience that's following me. So I don't know what that business is yet, but now that I've built the most expensive part of the business, which is the audience that I can sell it to, I hope that I'm able to like perfect some sort of thing that I use and has been like something that I need and is solving some problem of mine, and by virtue of that solving some problem of the people following me. And I hope that I'm able to build like a great product in that niche and able to make some money off of it.
I hope you find what that
Thank
is.
you.
I really hope you find
I
what
was
that
thinking
is.
of nipple pasties, and Kusha came in and she stole my market. She's doing a fab job
She
again.
is.
Yeah.
I haven't tried the product, but the branding and everything, the story looks wonderful.
I love watching her reels on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like there's one favorite comedy creator in India, especially woman, that you think is doing like a really fab job?
I think Apurva is doing a really good job. I think there's so much background noise with what's happening with her, but I think she knows exactly what she wants. I know she gets into a lot of trouble for it, and I may not agree with everything that she says or does, but I'm so like I admire her so much. She's so young. She's had to deal with so much shit. Like, and she still wakes up every day and she's like, I'm the bitch. And she is the girl. Like, she's amazing. So I think she is someone that I'm really like, I'm rooting for her, at least from a distance. We're not friends, but like every time I meet her, I'm like, I enjoy her energy and I'm genuinely rooting for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're a girl's girl and it shows.
Thank you. I try to be. I feel like it's so important also. No one wants a pick me. Like that time is gone. Even
Yeah.
men don't want a pick me. Well,
Forget what men want.
Who knows what men want? Who cares what men want?
So I end every episode
Yeah.
with a little hot or not, rapid
Let's
fire
do
kind of a bit. Oversharing on the internet is both cathartic but also good for business.
Strong believer.
Dating someone you don't like but just for the plot.
Not a vibe.
Being able to switch off your creator brain after hours.
Hot. Very hot.
Jealous. I'm very jealous. Clickbait titles will work, but only if the episode has some salt to it.
Agree. Yeah.
Going broke is better than getting cancelled.
Going broke is the worst thing. Money runs the world.
Okay, fill in the blanks. You're willing to do dash for 5 million followers.
Nothing. I don't want 5 million random followers. I want only the girlies that follow me. I'm not willing to do anything.
One rumor about you which is true.
Ooh, that I guess there's no rumors about me. Everything is true only. What rumors means, nothing. Yeah, she was a bitch at this event. Yeah, I must have been. I know myself. Yeah, she's. No, wait, one not true. No, I know one not true rumor.
So say.
Oh, there's this one guy who keeps saying he went on a date with me and it's really bothering me. And I checked his profile out and he lives in some. He ordered some cheese rice from Domino's. I would never date anyone that ordered cheese rice from Domino's. Please.
How do you know what he ordered?
Because he's very active on Reddit and he keeps telling everyone on Reddit that he dated me and I sucked and I smell of cigarettes and something. I don't smoke cigarettes. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't do it. So I should be opposed to it. I don't know why. I was like, hey, smokers, I'm not opposed to it. But then I checked his Reddit profile out and he had complained because his Domino's chili cheese rice was less in quantity or something. And I was like, I would never date anyone that orders rice from Domino's, a pizza place.
I also want to know how you figured out who this person was through Reddit. Isn't Reddit anonymous? Hello?
It is anonymous, but he had posted. I don't know who this person is. If I knew this person, I would go to his house and
like that,
him, bro.
Okay.
I didn't go on a date with him. I've not gone on a date. Actually, I have gone on a lot of dates, but I know all those people and we're all friends. So there's no way this random guy, what is cheese rice from Domino's? I'm so upset.
That makes me want to order it just to see
Please.
what this is all about.
I'll name.
One brand on your wish list that you want to work with.
Ooh, I want to work with Rode if they come, or Skims. I'm a big wearer of Skims. I would love to work with Skims.
I'm a huge wearer of Skims. If they came to India directly, I know they ship to India. I would be I would lose my shit.
Same. And if I'm not invited to the event, you watch the biggest crash out of your life.
I'll join you if I'm not invited also.
You will be invited.
If you could delete one video from your channel, what would it be?
I deleted a lot recently based on people that are no longer in my life. So I would cancel all those.
One person you love to stalk on Instagram or YouTube?
Who do I love to stalk? I stalk all my friends very often. I need to kind of go in every day and stalk them and be like, what is everyone up to? So I only go on my close friends again and again and stalk them.
A creator that you think is super underrated?
I love the Char Bimar girls. They're so funny. They just make this cringe talk content and they're these young girls. 10 on 10.
A creator you think is super overrated?
There are these there's some Hindi speaking comments that are incels and they I can't remember their names, but there's this group of dudes who make this content and they're all oh, I love this. I don't know, some woman hating shit. I'm please leave.
Oh God. A podcast that you think is worth recommending apart from us, of course, that's a given.
That's the only one. This one.
No, apart from this too, Sakshi. People are already watching this if they're watching this.
I know. Desi Crime. Desi Crime is 10 on 10. I don't think they need my recommendation. They're doing a fab job, but I genuinely am a watcher. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Sakshi.
Thank you.
I have a little thank you for you over here from my brand.
Stop.
That will hopefully, I don't want to move the mic and also not lean.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I know you're between a bunch of things and you made this happen.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Shout out yourself, your handles. I'm going to say not that you need it, but you should.
No, I need it. You can follow me, Sakshi Shivdasani, on Instagram and on YouTube. And then I have a podcast called Moment of Silence Pod with my good friend Naina Bhan. That's where you can find me.
That's where you can find it. Thank you for watching.
You.
Bye.
Bye.
This was one of the most easy flowing conversations I've had in a long time. It was a really fun episode for me. And I hope it was one for you as well. I'm looking forward to hear your thoughts. I'm always reading, liking, hearting, and responding to each and every one of your comments. Don't forget to subscribe before you go away and give me a little rating or a thumbs up depending on where you're listening to this podcast. See you next time.